All right, everyone. Link in the description, archived, of course. Trump the other day saying that Canada was considering the possibility of joining the United States as the 51st state. It would actually be a series of states, by the way, in exchange for the Iron Dome being extended throughout their territory. Um, Nuanced view time. We're putting our nuance hat on. Number one, quite clearly, this is not a serious suggestion. The United States is not going to annex Canada. Number two, of course, Canada is not seriously going to consider such an offer. Yeah, we'll join your country in exchange for missile defense. Well, see, the problem is that they're part of the Commonwealth, which means you'd have to rip yourself away from the English first, then you'd have to have a petition for annexation, and then the US legislature would have to greenlight it. Uh, this is not possible. It will not happen. This is Trump trolling more than anything else, and bloviating a bit. Although I will say, I mean, so that part's not a concern. I mean, it's simply not going to happen, but it's Trump having fun more than anything else. But I think that it's still unhelpful. Not diplomatically. The Canadians will just roll their eyes. They know that it's a joke more than anything else. But Trump is spending time doing that instead of forcing through actual changes that are possible to actually make. In that sense, he's finally acting like a real Republican, I suppose. The legislature, they're like, again, constantly bonking themselves in the head and zapping their own balls and shit like that. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Donald Trump is generally much more intelligent than the average person certainly in the legislature within the Republican Party. There are a few exceptions, but for the most part, he's one of the more intelligent individuals within the party. Right now, the Democrats don't appear to have anyone intelligent other than the dude who almost died of a massive stroke and for a while couldn't read. So, yeah, politics is a little bit screwy at the moment. And today's a slow news day. Jesus Christ. But Trump should probably lay off of this rhetoric in order to focus on things that like more Americans would care about, like um, talking about the border. The border would be a good topic. It's part of why you were elected. Tax relief, fronting that because right now the liberals are pretending that the tax relief is mainly just going to be for the one percenters. Well, that's not exactly how it works, but Trump has to compress that message and get it out to the public. He has to get ahead of it, in other words, because before when he gave tax relief, most of the public didn't like the relief bill, actually. They thought that it disproportionately helped the rich. And some of us tried to point out to them, like, that's just literally not the case. But they wouldn't believe you. But that's because the White House messaging with regards to the tax bill was it went well behind the messaging of people who quite clearly just have a hard on for hating Trump. And so what you need to do is get out ahead of that. Um, Taking the fore with Ukraine and Russia. Zelensky pouting the other day and all of these crazy things happening, you have to get out ahead of them. And the Trump administration has admittedly been better than most administrations at doing this. But you're going to have to redouble your efforts because the propaganda has been redoubled as well. So you're going to have no choice. Canada is clearly not going to become the 51st state. Number one, again, it would be a series. It'd probably be 4 or 5 states. That would be out of necessity. Number two, the Quebecois would probably revolt immediately. That is a massive land area with a reasonably large population. That would be a problem. Also, BC would probably revolt as well. So, you're fighting a war on two fronts in vast stretches of rather inhospitable land against people who are insane. That's probably not a good idea. You know, in Quebec, they still eat snails. I ate snails once. I spent about 4 hours puking and shitting my guts out. It was rather fun, let me tell you. I mean, talk about an emetic. I think I got food poisoning quite clearly. Oh my God, I was so sick that night. And I had eaten roasted Brussels sprouts too, so imagine that coming back out. How lovely. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, French people, for inventing the concept of eating snails. I had a great time. But the USA, in more serious terms, is not going to annex Canada. It's just not going to happen. There's no legal methodology by which you could make it work. The population doesn't want to be annexed. It doesn't fucking matter what the government wants. You could have a plebiscite, of course, and the population petitions for annexation, but you'd have to leave the Commonwealth first. Well, that would take a government effort, and the government's not willing to do so. So unless you intend to seriously invade Canada, it ain't happening. Nobody wants to invade Canada. Yes, this vast area of land with tens of millions of people in it, we're going to overrun them. We don't have the forces to occupy Canada. It's not even possible. We can make way with smaller countries if we need to, but a country that vast, it's going to be rather difficult. You might as well just invade Russia at that point, sail over some Marines or something like that, and they'll teach the Russians about how they eat crayons or something like that. I find that joke funny all the time. That's about all. Peace out.